What's up, everybody? My name is Kason. Welcome back to the WDL. This is Season 2, Week 7 of the Heindler Division. We've got 5 really awesome best of 3s for you guys today, but before we jump into those, let's take a look at the standings through 6 weeks. In first place, we've got Coach MacRain of the Materia Hunters, 18 points, 6-0 series record with a plus 11 game win-loss, has only dropped one single game to JEBAW and the Sappers all season. In second place, we've got Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortals with 16 points with that 5-0-1 record. Turambar and the Ferrets and Ram9 and the Rock Boys both currently tied in third place perfectly with 12 points and a 4-2-0 series record. Hot on their tails though, hot on their heels to try and make that top 4 is JesusLBL in 5th place of the Strawhats with 11 points and Spike of Bebop's crew with 10 points. Maverick in 7th of the Spaghetti Western with 8 points, and even Catrah and Xathria making it competitive with 6 points for themselves in a tie for 8th. JEBAW and the Sappers currently in last place with 3 points, but he has had some very competitive series. These standings are very, very tight, and obviously I know I've said this before, but the top 4 teams are what makes it to the playoffs. The other 6 teams have the enjoyment of going into the toilet bowl and trying to make a run there and trying to win the toilet bowl for themselves, but the top 4 teams is really where you're trying to be. You're trying to make it to that playoff mark, so it is an incredibly tight race to see which teams will make that, and we're gonna have to jump into this series and see who wins these. All right, guys, for our first series today, we've got Xathria of the Guild Lapis, coach of the Ghostbloods, versus Catrah, also of the Guild Lapis, coach of Sandrock. 2 guildmates trying to duke it out here, trying to see who will be in 8th place at the end of the week, or potentially higher than that, to be fair, but they both come in to the week tied for 8th with 6 points. So who gets the better of this guild on guild matchup? We'll have to find out. For Xathria's side, we've got Sylvie, Knight of Rune Stern, Snow, Golbez, Whisper, Lastwell, Fina, Shadowlynx, Valade, Surges, and Lara Croft, his new unit. And on Sandrock, for Catrah, we've got Esther, Pissarro, Setia, Prompto, Moraga, Winter Venera, Silma, Curry, Gafgarian, Sosha, and More the Merrier. Neither one of the new units making any play so far, but maybe we'll see them today. We'll have to find out. So coming into this week, they both have 6 points. Catrah obviously has 2 series wins. Xathria only has 1. But he's had 3 different times where he's been into a third game with an opponent where he has ended up losing. So we'll have to see. This series should be really, really good, honestly. I will say, both of these teams, even though they're pretty low in the standings, the winner of this series is not technically out of the playoffs. I'm assuming a lot of things will probably have to happen for them to make it, but they are not out of it, whoever wins this series. So there is something on the line for these 2 teams, even though it seems like they are near the bottom of the standings right now. For Xathria, what do I expect here? I think one team that he has enjoyed using is a Shadowlynx Knight of Rune Stern team together. He has run that before with Lastwell. He has also done some full UR combinations with Golbez, Whisper, and Lastwell as well. So those are 2 teams that he has relied pretty heavily on, I would say. On Catrah's side, he's also got that Pissarro, another evasion unit, who can be really good into evasion. So will we see an evasion on evasion matchup? I could see that happening. Could also see Curry coming out, as he does have sharpshoot, like guaranteed hits. Hasn't gotten a ton of success out of Setia, but would love to see her come out as well. Silma, I know, has some guaranteed hits as well, so she has like unavailable pain. You could run a couple of MR units with like some guaranteed hits, along with a high coster like Esther or Pissarro or something like that. Should be very, very interesting though. I'm not sure what we will see out of this matchup, but let's just dive into it and see what the guys brought. All right, guys, game number 1 between Xathria and Catrah here. We've got Knight of Rune Stern showing for Xathria and Moraga showing for Catrah. Is this the full evasion team from Xathria here, or is it just the Knight of Rune Stern? That's going to be my question. So let's dive into this. So it is Knight of Rune Stern, Lastwell, Shadowlynx. Catrah has Moraga, Pissarro, and Curry. So Curry has guaranteed hits, so that'll be nice versus the evasion. And Pissarro should, hopefully, for his side, be able to hit. He is an evasion unit himself. A very nice start here for Shadowlynx. Illusion on all 3 of the party members. And Bell's online for Knight of Rune Stern. So he has tons of AP and an illusion buff. I really like this start from Xathria, to be honest. Mirage Plus coming out from Lastwell, so he's got a 100% hit shield. My big thing is Moraga. How well can he tank, and can he actually hit the other units? Sharpshoot comes out from Curry very early on. That will break the 100% shield from Stern. And Emberlight Vitality comes out from Moraga. Interesting. Is somebody else using Bells, or is he just opting for that over Bells? I find that kind of interesting. Unless he doesn't have them, but I would find that probably unlikely. Padfoot comes out from Shadow Links, so the Pizarro TMR, Haste and Hate down. This TMR is so damn good. I wish I had it. Not everyone's turn is going to walk up. Hazard Render, honestly, only 3196. Moraga starts the fight with a physical barrier, so mitigating that damage pretty well. And Treasure Hunter's Fortune comes out. This is going to be a very dodgy Knight of Ruin's turn here with the lock TMR coming out. Mortal Spirit from Moraga. I wonder if he had the height range to hit there. Like if he has 0% hit rate. Sharpshoot comes out again, 4,600 damage. Evasion doesn't matter if there's guaranteed hits on the field. We'll have to see. Strike of Ruin comes out, but it misses both. Oh man, those are some dodgy units. The evasion versus evasion is always a really interesting dynamic. Dream Within a Dream comes out, so the barrier on Moraga is now completely gone. Can Knight of Ruin's Stern find a nice hazard render? Yes, he can, but it misses the Pizarro, so both units dodging each other up to this point. Moraga, I believe, Courage procced. Lastwell should be able to take out Moraga at the minimum. Whether or not he can hit Pizarro, I don't know. I can't tell whether Pizarro moved or not. Whether this is going to hit. It does not. So that 4 chain, Moraga is going to drop. He is gone. But the counter rate procs for Pizarro, and he has not been hit yet. Do the units have enough accuracy to hit them? And vice versa. Shadow Tether misses too. These units are so damn dodgy in this counter rate. Defense piercing rate and slash attack resist piercing rate. He's going to hit really hard if he's able to, but Curry is out of AP. He's standard attacks. He's not going to get AP back. He might actually be in a really weird spot here if he can't hit anyone. Pizarro lands the kill on Lastwell through the shield. Hazard Runner comes out. He manages to finally connect. He takes out the Curry, and Pizarro is down to 1 hit. But this is not over. It's just whether or not who can hit who is the question. No guaranteed hits in these kits. Shadow Lynx can hit the Pizarro, and she drops him in game number 1. And Xathria and the Ghostbloods are going to take the game 1 victory here. So a very cool matchup just to start out the day, to be honest. Evade versus evade is always kind of... There's definitely obviously RNG involved, but it's an interesting fight. For Curry, he kind of needs bells there because he was going to run into an... Like, if he had enough AP, he could have sharpshooted again and killed Knight of Ruinstern. But he ran into an issue where he doesn't have a way to get an AP, because if you don't land your attack, you don't get any AP, and he's not going to buff because he is in range to hit, and he has a better than 0% chance to hit, so he's going to try. So that was interesting. Does Catrah change it up and go with something else, or does he just run it back and say, hey, I hope the RNG is more in my favor this time? Let's find out and jump into game number 2. All right, guys, game number 2 between Xathria and Catrah, and I'm pretty sure we are getting the exact same run back of game number 1. I will say, like I said, I normally don't like when teams do this, but in this situation where it is evasion versus evasion, like, RNG is a big thing, and if you feel like, hey, maybe I'll get lucky this time, he got lucky last time, you never know, right? I think from Catrah's side, I'm really trying to see if I can get, like, bells online for Curry. If I can do that, I think that gives me a better chance, because I will be able to hit more sharpshoots. I think that's the big thing. So a switch up from Xathria, though. He's changing his positioning. He's in the opposite corner this time from last time. I have seen this strategy quite a few times from people. I actually have done it as well, is just to throw off the other person. If you're not going to change your team, flip it to the other side of the map just to mess with them a little bit, you know, so that they can't fully prepare for your positioning like last time. Wake up impact. So accuracy up. I actually really like this adjustment from Catrah. He might be able to hit a little more commonly now. And this is the bells from Curry. That is actually exactly what I just said. That is probably why Emberlight Vitality was on Moraga, because bells were probably on Curry last time and he just didn't use them. So Padfoot again from Shadow Link. So the same kind of start, just in the opposite corner. And Knight of Ruinstern going to go Ruinous Resonation. So he is going to hit really damn hard if he hits. I think that might have actually upgraded accuracy too. I'm not sure. With the lock TMR, luck up as well, going to increase that accuracy. But Courage online for Moraga. What can Curry do here? He's going to have to step forward to be able to hit. Oh, he goes right up to the top. Sharpshoot. Breaks the 100% barrier on the Mirage. Dream Within a Dream is going to take out the barrier from Moraga. Can Pizarro reach here? I'm not entirely sure. Yes, he can. He's going to go for the limit break. I think this was on Knight of Ruinstern. But he has this 100% shield, and I don't think this breaks barriers. Yeah, so it's going to remove buff. But that's all it's going to do. Can Knight of Runestern reach a Hazard Rander somewhere? He can hit all 3. Oh, dear lord. Holy shit. Knight of Runestern just deleted all 3 of those units. That was incredible. My god, I'm so sorry, Catrah, but Xathria's Knight of Runestern is out for frickin' blood. My god, I almost just dropped the F-bomb for the first time on my channel. I don't think I've done that before. I might have almost just done that right now. Dear lord, that Knight of Runestern just put in some work. That fella's going to end up on the thumbnail, I could tell you. Wow, very well done. Congrats to Xathria on a Game 2 win. That Hazard Render was just so disgusting. There's not much more to say about that. Game 1 was actually felt, quite close, and it felt like it could have went either way. That game, not so much. But Xathria keeps his playoff hopes alive. We'll have to see what happens in the other series, but I think regardless of what happens, he still technically has a chance. I'll be realistic. I think that chance is like 1% or less, and that's nothing to do with him. It's because like a number of things will probably have to happen for him. But a chance is a chance. You're telling me there's a chance. Talk about that GIF, the Jim Carrey GIF. So, Dumb and Dumber GIF. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this. We've got 4 more series to jump into, and let's jump into the second one. All right, guys, series number 2 today. We've got Turambar of the guild Get Swifty, coach of the Fire Ferrets, versus JEBAW of the guild Rebirth, coach of the Sappers. A couple of guild leaders here, I believe, actually. And on the Fire Ferret side, we've got Jaden Rundall, we've got Halloween Lucia, Lightning, Orlando, Aerith, Engelbert, Sakura, Elshra, Slime, Titus, and Luartha. And on the Sappers side, we've got Perrine, we've got Queen of Horn, Mashri, Urel, Resnick, Sterne, Victoria, Mariel, Ravies, Revelka, Ramada, and Vadim. Couple of new units here. We've got Vadim and we've got Luartha. I don't expect to see Luartha this week. Maybe we will, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Vadim. I think there's a couple of comps that JEBAW and the Sappers could bring out with him. I've said before, I think the Queen of Horn, Mashri, and Urel combo could work really well. I also think running something like Resnick Perrine could work very well, as Perrine just a one-woman wrecking crew with some support healing in the back. Fire Ferrets on their side, I know one comp they've been liking a lot lately is the Titus Jaden Sakura combo, so wouldn't be surprised to see that. He could also very easily run Orlando, Lightning, Titus, but I think that's probably a little scarier for him because of the Arthur units on the Sappers side. But then again, Perrine is there, right? So like the Lightning would be very good into that. So it'll be interesting to see what he brings out on their side. For JEBAW, I want to see the Vadim. I want to see him run one of those combos because, for most of the season, he was not able to run that low-cost unit. I would like to see him bust it out if he can. We've seen some good stuff from Vadim before with some charms and some evasion stuff. It'll be interesting to see what happens here, though. I don't want to speculate too much here because I really don't know what they're going to bring other than, what they've brought out in the past. But let's just go ahead and jump into it and check out game number 1. All right, guys, game number 1 here between Turambar and JEBAW. We've got the Jaden Rundall showing for Turambar, and we've got Vadim showing for JEBAW. So is this the Jaden Sakura Titus team? Yes, it is. This is something that he's had a lot of success with recently. Took Dr. Dickhead down for his very first loss of the season with this comp. March of the Stag comes out, agility up, and magic up for himself. Sakura's going to channel something. So I know Padfoot has been a ability that she's used quite a bit with the Pissarro TMR, but she's going to go Heart-like Needles first. Magic attack up, upgrading that Spirit Piercing rate as well. And JEBAW is bringing one of the teams that I really wanted to see. Queen's Edict comes out from Queen Mashri, getting that Protect up. Sentinel going to go for Titus. I don't think Protect is going to do a whole lot, I'll be honest. There's a lot of magic power coming out from Turambar's side. Shadowcast comes out for Vadim, so he's going to be dodgy. Grace of Eternal Friendship. This is the Black Rose Helena TMR coming out from Sakura. Can Jaden get in range to do damage? No, he's actually going to go Tracker. I believe this is Lara Croft's TMR, which is effect range up and critical damage up. Demon Purger, only 2697. Titus, a very good physical tank. But what can Queen of Horn Mashri do? Evocative Vestige, a lot of damage. He is still alive, though. Is this a Rebel Intention channel? This does have courage removal as, oh my goodness, Unerring Shot just drops Vadim in one hit. That tells me it's killing somebody, unless he can't hit. That is killing somebody. That is why Titus didn't attack somebody. Good lord. Sakura just dropped both of those units like a bad hat. My god. Bad habit. Excuse me. Wow. Sakura just absolutely crushed them. That was nuts. Rebel Intention was a one-shot. I do think this comp has some promise. The one thing I will say, though, is the courage buff really doesn't do much if you have the Sakura on the other side. Rebel Intention is an incredibly powerful attack, and removing courage honestly, you're probably better off just running some sort of other buff at that point. I expect some sort of switch up from JEBAW. I can't imagine he runs the same team back a second time. It obviously didn't work the first time. I expect something different. I don't know what it's going to be, but I definitely expect something different. And something I didn't mention in the matchup preview screen before, Turambar, obviously currently fighting for the playoffs. He is in a two-way tie for third place right now. JEBAW, even though he is in last place, has put up some really competitive series against multiple teams. He's the only person to take a single game off of MacRain, and he's had a couple of other really competitive ones too. So I do expect some pushback from JEBAW here in game 2. I don't expect this to be this one-sided in game number 2, but let's see what he made for an adjustment, and let's hop into it. All right, guys, game number 2. So we still have the Jaden, we still have the Vadim showing, but I think this is a different team comp because that is a very high attack stat coming out from JEBAW's side, which makes me think like Perrine is probably here in some fashion. So it is. So it is Perrine, Urel, Vadim, and it is the same comp from Turambar. Turambar says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's run it back. March of the Stag. See, the only difference here is that the March of the Stag agility buff goes on Titus. I think this was on Sakura last time. AoE resist is going to be very nice to try and mitigate that damage from Sakura. Hopefully doesn't one-shot the Urel like last time for JEBAW. Indomitable Stance is very nice as long as Sakura doesn't hit Rebel Intention. If you can space out this correctly, then it'll be fine. And then it's a good buff. But if she hits him with that, then it's not going to matter. Saintly Fortress comes up. That hate up, critical evasion, physical shield, pierce resistance. So many good things on that buff. And Jaden is actually just going to go for the same buff twice. So he did not get his TMR buff off like last time. But Titus has a ton of hate here. I don't think he is running Bowtie, but he has 12 hate due to his buff that he had just used. Fatal Oath coming out, removing Courage. I don't think Titus used his Courage, though. I could be wrong. I might have missed that. He might have used it. Magic Blast Plus comes out. Misses the Perrine, so Perrine is actually kind of dodgy in this build, it looks like. Wait a minute. Okay, so Mug just happened from Vadim. This actually could be kind of massive because that removes hate from Titus, and Rebel Intention misses. Oh my god, this is actually massive for JEBAW. Vortex Kick's going to come out. I'm pretty sure that Titus does not have hate. Yeah, 3-step Start Strike comes out. Oh, she does not die. How much health does she have? She looks like she has no health. Going to proc the Courage on Urel, so the Courage buff does actually matter this time, as Titus is going to waste his attack on the Urel to get rid of her. How much health does Sakura have? 2. She has 2 health. Turambar's Sakura live with 2 health, but she's going to go again and she's going to miss. Regardless, though, Titus does not have hate because of that Mug ability. Mug is not a skill you would think would ever matter, but the upgrades to the Thief job makes it so that it dispels, which now removes hate, so that ability actually kind of matters. Unerring Shot takes out the Vadim. It is still a 2v1 in Turambar's favor, but with no hate on Titus, I think this is advantage JEBAW. If Perrine can reach Jaden right here, she cannot. She goes for Titus. Reaping Edge, 6201, removes him from the fight. Drill Shot misses, though. He's got to go for his guaranteed hit to be able to hit her, I think. He laps her. Unerring Shot comes out. That self-heal, it did 6908. She has 7100 damage. He might be able to kill with one more, but Vortex Kick is going to hit. Going to drop the Jaden. And the game 2 comeback win for JEBAW. Making things interesting, he says, not so fast. Game 1 was a very, very one-sided victory in Turambar's favor, but that was a very nice Game 2 win for JEBAW. That Vadim, legitimately, MVP. That Mug was massive. That seems like not a big deal because it did very little damage. But dispelling the hate on Titus allows the other 2 units to pick their targets. And then if they don't have to choose Titus, then the tank doesn't really do anything. So, wow. Game 3 should be interesting. So now, does JEBAW just run the exact same thing back? The thing is, like, that Mug has to land. I have no doubt if that Mug doesn't land on Titus, that Turambar wins that fight. Because they would have had to have been forced to hit Titus like multiple times. They wouldn't have been able to kill Sakura so early. And Sakura would have done a lot of damage. So honestly, like, Turambar could just do the same thing and maybe start with some more like initial hate on Titus. I think that could be a good idea. If I was him, that would probably be what I do. Just run the same comp and just run like Vow of Love and maybe Bowtie or something like that. But we'll have to see what he does. It'd be an interesting adjustment. I expect probably the same teams and an adjustment from Turambar's side. Whether or not that happens, I have no idea. But let's jump into game 3. All right, guys, game number 3. This looks like the exact same run back from game 2. So I think this kind of makes sense from both sides, right? Because JEBAW won the game 2. He wants to stick with the comp. And I do think Turambar's comp has a way to win this. But he needs to avoid that dispel. He needs to have hate on Titus. If he doesn't, he will lose.
So, shall we begin?
All right, so Greater Domain of Water comes out. So it looks like this is probably the exact same setup from JEBAW. The one thing I will note, though, which we'll have to see how it plays out, but this looks kind of bad early for him, is that Vadim is on the opposite side. Or I'm sorry, Turambar's team is on the opposite side of Vadim, which means Vadim might not be able to reach Titus, and he needs to be able to reach with that mug. So he's going to go Shadowcast, evasion rate and reaction block rate down. And this looks like pretty much the exact same buff rotation from game 1 Turambar's team. Saintly Fortress comes up, so that is the hate buff that he needs to have. The Black Rose Helen and TMR, agility up, shield up. And Raging Waters comes up. Remove Protect from attack. Really won't do a whole lot, but she kind of wants to get those 2 buffs off at the start of the fight here. And I think that was the Lara Croft TMR, actually. So this is basically the exact same thing as game 1 for Turambar. And that is not a lot of damage from Urel here, but it does break his shield, importantly. Oh, God. This is a Rebel Intention, though. I'm pretty sure she was going to remove this Urel from existence. Maybe not. Interesting. I didn't think she could hit that AoE with the way that Titus stepped up, but apparently she can. She removes Urel immediately, and Golden Magic Shot. Oh god, this Jaden, it looks like, is probably built more accurate than last time. Drops Vadim immediately. This is now a 1v3. And without the Dispel, I just don't see a way that Perrine wins this. That's good damage, but I don't know how she's going to get through this. Eternal Pain's going to come out, get a nice little light chain started for the Jaden. Jaden's going to be able to follow this up with that light chain. What does he go for? Unerring shot, 78-18. That is enough. Perrine's going to drop, and that is a very one-sided game 3. Honestly, really good adjustments in game 2 for JEBAW, and a great adjustment for game 3 from Turambar. Just starting on the opposite side, not getting that mug off. And the Rebel Intention, Urel coming out too far forward, just like way too quick, ended up spelling, defeat for JEBAW. But another great series. JEBAW has not won a series yet, but this is 4 different series where he has brought it to a game 3. So he has had a ton of really competitive ones. So hats off to him for that. Congrats to Turambar for the series win. He is now at 15 points. So with that, two-way tie for third coming into the week, he's got 15 points, and now the pressure is on Ram 9 because Ram 9 actually plays against Dr. Dickhead this week, and that is going to be a very tough matchup. So honestly, without further ado, let's look at that one. Let's jump into that series and see who won that one. All right, guys, series number 3 here. We've got Dr. Dickhead of Guild Lapis, coach of the Foolish Mortals, versus Ram 9 of the Guild Howl, coach of the Rock Boys. Dr. Dickhead's side, we got Little the Bold, Dark Fina, Ibarra, Astrius, Lucio, Camilo, Minwoo, Seymour, Murmur, Zazan, and Joker. And Ram 9, we've got Elia, Eliza, Chunak, Fryevia, Ketone, Miranda, Kilfe, Balo, Uni, Severo, and Joom. We did see Joom come out last week, I think it was, for Ram 9 and the Rock Boys in a kind of an upset defeat to Spike last week. Brought out the Joom, but it unfortunately did not work out for him. Will we see it again this week? I will say, for Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortals, he's only brought 1 team all season, but it's been so incredibly effective. You have to wonder, will he ever vary from it? Will he ever go to something else? Does he ever have a reason to? I would not be surprised to see Joker at some point, but until it just doesn't work, the only time he's lost is to Turambar, I think he probably just keeps running it. So I would not be surprised to see the Little Lila, Dark Fina, Zazan team come out. For Ram 9 and the Rock Boys, he hasn't had a ton of success with the missile units yet, but they are always a threat. They can put out so much damage from far away. So I would not be surprised to see him run a couple of those, maybe with, a Balo as a tank, or Severo putting down damage from far away to drop Bravery or something like that. But also his triple UR teams have been disgustingly good. And I imagine that Fryevia actually probably tanks Dark Fina pretty well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the triple UR team either. So I think Ram 9's got a couple of really good options, but the pressure is on him right now because if he doesn't win this series, Turambar will pass him up. And there are other teams in the division, in the standings that are very, very close together. So pressure is on him to try and beat Dr. Dickhead and pull off the upset. And for Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortals, he also needs to win this too, because If he wins, he pretty much all but clinches a playoff spot. But if he loses, it gets a little sticky because the last week of the season, he does play against MacRain and the Materia Hunters, who is currently our top seed in the standings. So this is a very important matchup for both teams. I'm excited to see how it plays out, and let's jump into game one. All right, guys, game number one here on the left side. Dr. Dickhead's got Little Lila the Bold showing, and Ram9 on the right side's got Freyevia. So it looks like it's probably the triple UR combo. I didn't look at the attack and magic stats. He has run Freyevia before with Alaya, but I kind of expect the triple UR. It's been really effective for him. So it is. So it's Freyevia, Miranda, Kilfay versus the Dark Squad of Dr. Dickhead. So this team has been so strong for Dr. Dickhead. It's one of those things that you just kind of expect that it's coming, but can you beat it? You know, regardless of whether you expect it, can you win against it is a whole different story. So pretty standard buff rotation here. Little Lila's Secret Training. Going to be the re-raise, I imagine, from Dark Fina. And this is nice. This is a Starlight Elena TMR, giving dark resistance to the party. A very nice tech here from Ram9. Courage coming on from Miranda. And what does Freyevia go with here? She's going to go with Track Barrier. Magic Shield. Something I did not notice is that this Magic Shield for Freyevia, I'm pretty sure, is like 70% magic damage or something insane. So that will actually work very well against Dark Fina. Jamming Edge comes out. He can actually reach that. I'm kind of surprised. That is not a ton of damage, though, and he's kind of out in front. Pure Hearts Never Die, Courage, and AoE resist up. What does Dark Fina have for Freyevia? What kind of damage can she do? Because this is a magic tank, so she's going to go Queen's Judgment. This is a chain to try and break the barrier. That is very little damage. My goodness. Even the fourth hit for only 652. Freyevia is a beast magic tank. This actually looks pretty good for Ram9 side here. Stave Collector is going to come out. This is the Kilfay Limit Break. Haven't seen this in a while, but it is a very cool animation. Sending Zazan through time and space and just destroying him with a bunch of stabs. Adding him to his collection, her collection of dead bodies, I would say. Miranda's going to walk up. What is she going to go for? She's going to channel. So this is probably a Water God Dispeller. Spellville Blade comes up. This Freyevia, how much damage does this do? 1608. That actually removes the re-raise. I didn't even realize that. And it sleeps Dark Fina. This looks really good for Ram9, but that is a ton of damage from Little Lila. But Miranda has Courage. Freyevia is tanky. I don't know, man. Ketone, what kind of damage can she do? She limit breaks again. Apparently, this is a thing that Kilfay can do. I had no idea that she could do that. Have I been calling her Ketone? I hope not. If I have, I'm really sorry to Kilfay. Good God, don't hit me with all those stabs. That is terrifying. She picks up a second kill. Maybe it's why it's called Stave Collector, because she collects them and just use them whenever she wants. She's got so many of them, she can limit break twice. Spellville Blade comes out. Little Lila, they're stacked up for an AoE. There's no way. There's no way, right? Delightful Destruction. That is a lot of damage, but it is not enough. Procs the Courage on Miranda. The other two are low, but Ram9, I think, is just going to take this. I don't see a way, unless you can dodge. Yeah, Earthstaff's going to come down. Take out the Little Lila the Bold in a clean 3-0. Victory in game one for Ram9 and the Rock Boys. Wow. That was an impressive win, I will say. Freyevia tanked Dark Fina insanely well. It kind of makes me wonder if, like, Foolish Mortals would consider changing up the strategy and not bringing Dark Fina. Like, Little Lila the Bold did a ton of damage. Would you consider going something like Little Lila Joker instead of Dark Fina? I might even consider that. If Freyevia is tanking damage that well, it's kind of interesting. Also, because Miranda has re-raise Dispel, so that re-raise isn't as effective. I'm curious to see what adjustments that Dr. Dickhead makes for game two. I'm sure he'll bring something. Let's jump into it and see what happened. Game number two, guys. Little Lila the Bold still showing. Freyevia is still showing. That's a high magic stat. I think this is actually still the same comp from Dr. Dickhead. He might just be sticking to his guns all season and say, hey, I don't care. I'm not running any other team. That is very, very possible. We'll have to see here. But man, I don't know. I think something has to change here from Dr. Dickhead because Dark Fina just didn't get to do a lot. Obviously, the sleep probably mattered. I think she might have missed a turn while she was asleep too. So maybe that would have been the difference, to be fair. I don't know. This looks like this might have been a slight position change. I'm not sure that this is the exact same. Little Lila's Secret Training, though. Slash Tech Resist Piercing. Get her self-heal. And is this the re-raise again, coming out from Dark Fina? Because I wonder how effective that's going to be. If Water God dispels it, you're going to have to pretty much get rid of Miranda before she does that.
Let the bout
Although I think that buff does give her AoE resist when she's healthy, so to be fair, it still helps. I didn't really think about that. I think that's this buff, right? Yeah, AoE resist up when she's high health. So actually, that is still a good buff. Even if the re-raise gets dispelled, it's still going to make her more tanky. Steelheart, though, that is a big adjustment, but it does not land on the Fryevia. That is the positioning change, though, to make sure that he went for that instead of jamming edge. Delightful Destruction drops defense, 3,500 damage. Is this another limit break coming out from Dark Fina? It is. So getting rid of that magic barrier. But this is looking eerily similar to Game 1. Did Dr. Dickhead make enough adjustments for Game 2 here? I think he was probably really, really hoping for that Steelheart. Energy Blaster comes out. Doesn't kill the Zazan. Fryevi's probably going to do an AoE Spell Veil Blade, though, which she does. She lands on all three, takes out the Zazan. Miranda, I imagine, just goes for Water Gun, right? She probably removes Re-Raise and does a nice AoE damage. 32-35 removes the Re-Raise. But can they chain this damage together? I don't... With the turn order, Graceful Undoing, that is a lot. Can Dark Fina kill anybody here? We have seen this before. This is probably Shadow Flare. We have seen this from Dr. Dickhead before. This is the Black Rose Helena VC. Drops AoE resist. How much damage is it going to do? That is a good chunk. It gets the Courage on Miranda, but I don't know if that's enough. They're all going to go next. I don't think so. Preemptive Magic comes out. Kills Killfate. Is that enough? Oh my god, that counter could be huge. Miranda has 1 health left. She's going to channel. She gets it off before the Dark Team goes, though. Water Gun Dispeller, is it enough to kill? It is. It's a double kill. It ends up killing both, and Ram9 picks it up in Game 2. That was actually insanely close. Honestly, if Little Leela or Dark Fina lived there, especially Little Leela, if she lived there, you know, just barely, she would have double killed back. And that would have been a win for Dr. Dickhead. But wow, insanely close series. Even though it was 2-0, that Game 2 was very, very close. GG's and congrats to Ram9 and the Rock Boys. Honestly, kind of an upset. I mean, his team is very good, but Dr. Dickhead, obviously in second place right now. That's a pretty major win, especially because Turambar won this week. They're both currently sitting at 15 points, and now the pressure is on some of those other teams like Jesus, Maverick, and Spike. You know, some of those other teams that are sitting just below those to try and keep up with them. So we've got a couple more series to jump into. We'll have to see how those teams do. Let's check it out. All right, guys, 2 more series to go. This is number 4. JesusLBL of the guild Get Swifty, coach of the Strawhats, versus MacRain of the guild Hydra, coach of the Materia Hunters, who's currently in first place. JesusLBL on his team, the Strawhats have Starlight Elena, Sodali, Black Rose Helena, Locke, Titus, Rachaz, Yuna, Cyrell, Ryryu, Mia, and Lilith. And the Materia Hunters have Flagbearer, Glaciella, Cloud, Summer, Elsorel, Sweetheart Ildira, Regular Ildira, Lemure, Kane, McLeod, Dario, Naya, and 9S. Haven't seen either of these supplemental units yet. We didn't see them last week. Will we see him this week? We'll have to find out. One team that MacRain and the Materia Hunters has been relying on a lot recently is that Flagbearer, Glaciella, Dario, Naya comp. Do we see that again? We've seen it, had a lot of success recently over the last couple weeks or so. So wouldn't be surprised to see him bring something like that out again, especially because Dario is a very good magic tank. And honestly, a lot of the threats on Jesus' side are magic. And I think Dario can also build pretty decent slash resistance for some of those slash damage dealers as well. So I would not be surprised to see that comp come out from MacRain as well, but I hate to speculate because this guy has brought out tons of different compositions over the course of the weeks, and honestly, it's really hard to predict what the heck he's actually going to bring out. For JesusLBL and the Strawhats, he's had a couple of teams that have had good success for him before. He has the Sodali Cyrell Una team that has worked really well. He's had the Evasion team that he has used to probably lesser success, but obviously, you know, that's always an angle. I will say there's a good amount of accuracy and guaranteed hits coming out from the right side here on MacRain and the Materia Hunters. Cloud with his triple/plus skill. Glaciella Flagbearer obviously can have some pretty good accuracy and stuff like that. And Sweetheart Ildira is her own evasion unit, technically with a guaranteed hit with Sharpshoot with a Ranger sub. So I'm not sure if we'll see evasion or not. It'll be kind of interesting to see. I think if I'm Jesus, I'm probably trying to use Sottily. I'm probably trying to charm one of the other units and really try and put in some work with that limit break. I think Sottily would be my biggest go-to here, as the only ice unit on MacRain's team is McLeod, and I think Sottily just has that X factor with that charm limit break, being able to turn the tides of a fight. That's probably the way I would go, but it's hard to see, you know, whether or not that's what he's going to do. So let's jump into this series and see what happens. And actually, before we do that, taking a look, you know, at the points down at the bottom, JesusLBL has 11 points. And so now we know, after the wins from Turambar and Ram 9, they're both at 15. So he has an uphill battle. If he can beat MacRain and the Materia Hunters, he'll only be a point behind, and he'll honestly be in pretty good position going into the last couple weeks. If he loses, it's going to be an uphill climb, and it's going to be pretty tough. And the last series is that Spike Maverick series, who are also right around where he is. So he's desperate for a win. It's going to be a really tough win, though. Materia Hunters are a really good team. We'll see if he can pull off the upset. Let's jump into game 1 and see what happens. All right, guys, game number 1 between Jesus and MacRain here. We've got Mia on the left side and Naya on the right side. So is this the evasion team, or is this the Sottily Elena? I didn't look at the attack and magic stats. So it is the evasion team. MacRain is doing that standard team. Like I said, it's kind of really been enjoying that over the last couple weeks. Dario, Glacial Flagbearer, and Naya. It's a very tanky team. Spirit of Wazette comes out, AP recovery, accuracy up. Could be pretty massive against this evasion team, honestly. Gets her own barrier online as well. But Elena's going to get her courage online. So also always very nice. And Rebel Grace, this is the Astrius TMR. So speeding up the party, making them do a little bit more damage, or at least making Glaciella do more damage due to the attack up. And I like this tech here from Jesus with Mia's King Mont, because the reason is the more AoE resist you have on the party, the less likely that Glaciella will be to use her triple cross, which removes courage, which you do not want Elena to lose her courage. You want that to be online. I think that just showed magic and slash tech resistance up, right? This Glaciella is going to be pretty damn bulky, I think. With a barrier and magic and slash tech resist.
Let's go.
As the Black Rose Helena TMR comes on for Jesus. I do wonder if he has the Zombie Re-Raise TMR, or if he prefers the Black Rose Helena TMR. Magic Barrier comes on to Dario. Oh god. Especially Elena, I don't think is going to do a ton of damage here. With these barriers and the resistances up, regen online, it's going to be hard to eat through these units. And Shell also. Oh my goodness. This Dario is going to take like no damage from Elena, I don't think. Wicked Pummel comes out. Wow. Even that did almost no damage. With striking damage, I am shocked at how well... My goodness. What the hell is MacRain feeding these units? This is insane. I mean, props to him. An excellent build. But good lord, these units are so tanky and just one-shots the lock like no problem. Elena can't even reach. This is looking pretty rough in game 1 for Jesus, I'm going to be honest. I imagine this is probably another Shell. And Dario's going to walk forward, go taunting Spellblind, so he's going to skip the lock. So I think he probably doesn't have the accuracy to hit. So that is one thing that Jesus has going for him, is that the accuracy is probably only for Glaciella. Like, Dario probably doesn't have it in order to hit. Wicked Pummel going to slowly whittle down that Glaciella barrier, but I am astounded how well they're tanking. This is going to be very telling here. Starlight Elena Limit Break, how much does this do? Because this is going to hit the last part of the barrier for Glaciella, and it's going to break the barrier for Dario. This needs to do a lot. That did basically nothing. And I think there's probably crit evasion on MacRain's side too. Good God, man. Because they didn't do any crits there, and those were a bunch of crits. Courage remove, double kill. Glaciella is an absolute monster. How do you beat this team from MacRain? This is disgusting. This is so well done. Like, the tanking on this team is... I don't know what he's building, but incredibly impressive. I mean, I think just all those buffs stacking up onto top of each other with the shell, with the barrier, with the resistances up. Triple cross is going to come out and just delete Starlight Elena. That was a very one-sided game number 1. Congrats to MacRain on the game number 1 win. Ooh, boy. For Jesus, I mean, obviously, I don't think you can go evasion. Glaciella just has too much accuracy, and she can basically one-shot any of the units, like, no problem. So going into game 2, I think I know I recommend it. I think you have to try Sottily. I don't know if you can win, but I think you have to try it, because if you can at least like charm or confuse one of the units, like get some sort of status effect on them or something like that. Problem is, I don't know what the resistances are, status resistances are for Dario and Glaciella. Maybe they have charm resist or confusion resist, and maybe that's not why he's not doing it. But I think I would try that. I think I would try the Sodali team. I might even do this Sodali Cyrell Yuna team that he's brought up before. Unless you think your water team can do damage. I don't know. I really don't know what the answer to this is, but I don't think it's an invasion. I'm very curious to see what adjustment Jesus made for game 2, if he has an answer for this. Well, let's jump into it and check it out. All right, guys, game number 2 here between Jesus and MacRain. So this is a switch up. This is kind of what I was just talking about, actually. I think this is the Cyrell Sodali team, probably with Yuna. I think the thing is, like, Yuna could potentially be... Yeah, so this will be kind of interesting. This is going to be like a sustain war, which I mean, at first thought, I'm probably going to give the edge to MacRain because Naya is a beast at 40 cost. He's got really good tanks. So goes with the re-raise and hate up on Cyrell. So honestly, this is kind of a mirror. Like, both a support unit, both will function like a tank and then have a 100 cost damage dealer in the back. Slash tech resist piercing rate is going to be nice to try and get through that. The one thing I will say is Cyrell can build up a lot of piercing. So she should hopefully at least be able to do some damage against his team comparatively to the team last time. In the squad from Jesus, he can probably get the double re-raise off. Regen Benevolent comes out. This buff is so good. It gives critical evasion, healing power up, and regen. I forgot that gives critical evasion up. That's also another reason why they probably were taking so little damage last time. And another reason why Naya is just so damn good. But Divine Sacrament comes up, getting his spear piercing right up. I don't think you want Sodali moving forward first, though. This could get kind of dicey for Jesus. You gotta hope that he can tank Glaciella here, because I think Glaciella probably reaches. With the magic barrier coming out from Dario, so pretty much the same initial turn rotation as last time. What does Cyrell have here? Double resist. That is a nice tech. I didn't even think about that. She has Night Blade Subjob. Pierce resistance for Glaciella is an incredible way to mitigate her damage. I like this team comp already much better than last time. There's double re-raise, pierce resistance up. If he has a shot, this would be it. Dispelling Spear Flight, 2300. Sodali tanked that so well. This is a very good adjustment by Jesus. I expect nothing less. He's a very good player. Rush Not Thy Fate, not a lot of damage, but CT down and agility down, it looked like. Does that normally do agility down, or is he running like Thornlit on Sodali? Cyrell Constriction Cleave, 3103, and lands the slow. The slow could be kind of nice. Is that enough damage, though? Naya heals are crazy, and she heals at pretty high thresholds. So this is going to be telling. How much damage does Glaciella do to these guys? My goodness, Cyrell tanked that insanely well. What is her pierce resistance? Indoctrination comes out. No confusion. This is going to be a sustain war battle, though, because I don't imagine Dario is able to take out Sodali here. And so he's actually just going to go for Cyrell. Removes the buff and removes his own debuffs. Yuna should be able to get a heal, though. This is going to be a Curaga. Naya's also probably going for a Curaga here, I imagine. Well, actually, I don't know. Are they low enough to go for a heal? This is going to be interesting. If this isn't a Curaga, Jesus could have an opening here. Oh my god, it gets reflexed by the Glaciella. Indoctrination. Cyrell, what does he have? What does she have? Excuse me. Twisting Dissipator, 4819, and drops the agility. I think she is running Thornlight. I don't think that does that. No, it was a shell, not a Curaga. I don't think that Indoctrination would have done 2341, but it would. If it would have, that would actually be pretty massive here in this fight. That reflex could be big. Yuna going for another Curaga.
Sorry for the bother.
What does Glaciella have here? Spear sending? Oh my goodness, 10,000 damage. Now all of a sudden that pierce resistance or whatever it was wore off, because now apparently she is doing a ton of damage. And gets rid of the re-raise too, so he doesn't even get the re-raise. Cyrell, can she kill the... She can't go for Glaciella, but she kills Naya. That could be pretty major. She's actually been soaking this Glaciella damage very nicely. Cyrell could potentially do something here. Taunting Spellblind's going to go, though. I think Glaciella is going to kill Yuna. This seems kind of wild, but Cyrell is in a 1v2. I don't think this is over, though. Cyrell's been taking this damage very well, and Glaciella has 6 AP. Twisting Dissipator comes out, 2800. She's going to need another one of those, and she's low on AP too. This is going to be down to the wire. I think Glaciella and Cyrell both still have re-raise online, I believe. She does 1691 damage. Oh, man. Oh, there's 9 actions left. I just noticed that. AP Break Lance. Oh, no, that gets rid of her AP. Oh, God, what's going to happen? 6 actions left. Dario's going to go next. Aeroga Blade, Life Rend. I don't think Cyrell has AP for her attack. She has 10. She has 2,600 health. There are 5 actions left. She takes out Dario. 2652. Glaciella is 2341. She has less HP. She's going to go for the limit break. Does this kill? 1990. There's 3 actions left. Wait, is she going to jump the turn order? Oh my God, she's not going to get a turn. Oh my God, no way. Stop. That is how that game ends. Oh my God. Holy cow. That, I don't even know what to say. That was an insane game. God, I feel so bad for Jesus right now. MacRain ends up winning this game because Glaciella has more health than Cyrell. I'm trying to play this out in my head, what would have happened had the game kept going. Because, so I'm 99% sure that Cyrell can kill Glaciella from this health. She has 35 AP, and she can do more than like 2,300 damage to Glaciella. She's been showing that she can do that. So with 35 AP, she would have killed. I'm pretty sure Glaciella still had re-raise, so she would have came back. Glaciella would have standard attacked Cyrell to get AP back. Cyrell would have came back with her re-raise and probably not had enough AP to kill Glaciella. I think Glaciella probably still wins that if that gets played out, but it is so hard to predict that. And the fact that it ends on turns feels really, really sad. I feel so bad for Jesus. I'm happy for MacRain, but I feel so bad for Jesus that it ends that way. That was such an incredible, like, attempt to try and take down MacRain. I mean, his team has been so good, and that was such a good, I don't know, such a good effort. Man, that was a heck of a game too. I'm sad that we don't get a game 3, to be honest, but that was a heck of a game too. Congrats to MacRain. GG's to Jesus. Incredible effort. And we've got one more series for you guys to watch. Let's go watch the Spike versus Maverick series. All right, guys, our final series of week 7. I saved this one for last because I know some of the players in the Discord were very much looking forward to this match, so I had to save it for last just because of that. But on the left side, we've got Spike of the Guild Thunder Gods, coach of Bebop's crew, versus Maverick of the Guild Vandals, coach of the Spaghetti Western. Looking at the points, if Spike wins, he's put himself at 13, and he is right there in the thick of it to try and make the playoffs. On the right side here, Maverick, 8 points. He needs this win to keep himself alive for the playoff push. If he does not win, I am pretty sure he is mathematically out of the playoffs. If he wins, though, there were some interesting things that could happen, and, you know, some things would have to go his way, but he is certainly not out of it if he wins this week. So this is an incredibly tight series. I'm excited to get into it. So let's look at the rosters. So first of all, Bebop's crew, he's got Oberon, Resnick the Hoppy, Celis, Garvel, Luell, Raldor, Phoebe, Adelard, Littlelila, Mish, and Frederica. On the Spaghetti Western, we've got Velas, Skahal, Mont, King of Leonis, Halloween Littlelila, Agrius, Gargus, Winter Ravi, Salir, Mustadio, Liarte, and Glaciella. Couple of big shout outs right out of the gate. Some units that caught their 140 this week. Whether or not these teams 140'd them, I don't know. But Oberon, Littlelila, and Mont, King of Leonis all caught their 140 this week. Those are all pretty good 140s also, so I would not be shocked to see any of them with their upgraded levels here. But this will be really, really interesting. In terms of elements, like Maverick is kind of all over the board, so I'm not sure you can really like counter anything elementally. I would not be surprised to see someone like Celis come out because Maverick has shown that he really likes to play those mages. And so I could see Spike bringing something like Celis along with a Garvel or Luell or Resnick the Hoppy or something like that. I could see something coming out there. And for Maverick the Spaghetti Western, like I said, I could see the full mage comp, but I could also see Mont, King of Leonis coming out because he drafted him, hasn't used him yet. If you were ever going to, like, this would be the time now that he just got his 140. I don't know, there could be a ton of different things here that could come out. I don't want to speculate too much though. This is our last series. It should be an absolute banger, and let's jump into game number 1. All right, guys, game number 1 between Spike and Maverick, our last series of the day. We've got Celis showing on the left and Liarte showing on the right. So Maverick not going with the mages. He had a pretty high attack stat there. So interesting. So that is a 140 King Mont, and that is a 140 Oberon. So 140 on both sides here. Celis, known as a magic tank, has the elemental advantage over Mont Leonis, though. Obviously disadvantage to Liarte, but probably not as big a deal. Proclamation going to come out from King Mont. So hate up. Getting him moving faster. Purple Dragon's Providence, an excellent buff. And this should be a really, really interesting game one. Runic Blade comes out. Going to get Protect. That'll be kind of valuable here. The rest of it, not so much. With a little bit of the bold team are used from Mish. Just getting the team to move faster. Well, any Toad shenanigans happen. There's Toad shenanigans on one side and Charm Charge shenanigans on the other side. Will there be any major status effects that affect this battle? A huge buff here coming out from Glaciella. I've said this so many times, but one of the best single target buffs in the game. This is the Sweetheart Eldira TMR coming out from Mont King of Leonis. I actually really, really like this on your tank. Unit attack resist is especially good on your tank because if things are playing right, the only unit that really should get hit by single target attacks most times is your tank, and it gets him out in front, spacing himself out from your backline. Misha's going to walk up. This is probably a Toad. Does this land? This does not land. Spirit and Agility down. No Toad, though. Shadow Devour. 3,700. Not bad onto the Mish. But Shadow Devour going off tells me... Ooh, Leap Strike. Sorry, Mish. Sorry, buddy. Shadow Devour tells me that Charm Charge might be... or if Shadow Devour's on, she's not likely to use Charm Charge, is the thing. But 8-Path Dragonshine comes out. I think this was on King Mont. It could have been on Glaciella, but I believe he could reach King Mont here. Yes, he can. 5893 and elemental attack resist down. That is not bad, especially considering that King Mont, part of his bulk, is all elemental resist. AoE resist now down as well from the Celis, but that self-heal being pretty huge. Javelin Claw, only 1913s. This Celis soaking pretty well. So even though it's a 3v2 in Maverick's favor, Spike is hanging right in there, no problem. But this is a Berserk Bomb, King of Leonis. This is a father-son Kamehameha straight out of Dragon Ball Z. I don't know how there aren't copyright issues with this, but there isn't. The Berserk lands onto Celis, not onto Oberon. So Liarte's going to go Shadow Devour, 29-29, not bad. The Celis is about half health, but Oberon needs to put in work. Royal Rend, that is some work. Can Celis take a kill here? No, she can't because she's Berserk. She can't go for an ability. That is actually kind of major. I don't think she could have killed from that health, but it would have been pretty close, I think. But Valkyrie Drive comes out from Glaciella. I haven't seen this in a while. Speaking of animes, this is basically a Naruto run knockoff. So multiple anime TV shows coming in here. I don't know if Dragon Ball Z is an anime or a cartoon, but I don't give a shit. It's a good show. Mont, King of Leonis, cannot get the kill on Celis. Liarte's going to take it. This is a 3v1, but if anybody could pull it off, it's the 140 Oberon. What AoE can he get? Royal Rend? He's going to need another one of those on Glaciella. I have no doubts that he can handle the Liarte, but can he kill her? Triple Piercer gets rid of his barrier. That's pretty major. I imagine another Shadow Devour here. No, it's Stop Arrow. Does the stop land? No. Only 837. AoE Halting Spear kills Liarte, and she is low. Can Glaciella kill in one hit, or else Spike could probably takes this in a 1v3. Stunning Thrust comes out, 48-19. It does not kill. But she didn't have to move. She goes next. Oh my god, Glaciella lapped Oberon. And she's going to drop the Dark Tetra Esper on it. Oh my god, Glaciella still ended up winning it. I thought, wow. What a game one. Heck of a game one. Congrats to Maverick on that win. I honestly thought Oberon pulled off that 3v1 at the end. But Glaciella not having to move was the difference. So the thing is, like, the more the fight goes on, the more agility differences matter. You know, if she has 5 more agility than Oberon, that a lot of times doesn't matter that much. But if you're, 5-6 turns into the fight, that can start to matter more and more, especially in situations like this where the unit doesn't have to move. It can affect CT quite a bit. Wow. What a game one. That was incredibly close. I really hope game 2 is just as good. What are we going to see from these two teams? I honestly have no idea. Spike is kind of a wild card in terms of like the teams that he runs. He switches it up all the time into different stuff. So I don't expect the same thing, but I have no idea what we're going to see. So let's jump into game 2, see what these teams brought. Let's do it. All right, guys, game number 2 between Spike and Maverick. So still the Oberon. So is this the same team coming out from him? I guess it could be. Another unit, though, that we have not seen a single time from Maverick here is the Velis Hover on the right side. Okay, so it is Velis, Glaciella, Liarte. Interesting. Interesting. I was going to say I would love to see the Velis, Skahal, Liarte team at some point, but this is probably not the time to bring it out because that is double Earth units coming out from Spike. So I'm sure Maverick is very happy that he didn't bring that out this time. Purple Dragon's Providence coming out, critical evasion up, AoE resist. We've seen this Oberon and Luel team put in some work before. So Stars of Swiftness. So I like this Velis. I'm curious to see what he can do here. This was Maverick's first overall pick, if you don't know, and he hasn't used him yet. So going to haste up the entire party, basically. And one small thing that I will say that I do like a lot about this, on Maverick's side, he hasted the Liarte first. And I like that because that means the haste on Glaciella will last longer. Like, because it won't start on the same turn, right? Like, it'll start for Glaciella later. So I actually kind of like the order that he did this. But Glaciella, what is she going to do here? She's going to go Inherited Tyranny. That is the old Doa Turambar. I haven't seen that in a while. Interesting. So maybe expecting a super high defense unit coming out. I don't know how much defense piercing Glaciella has innately, to be fair. Ice Blessing come out. Protect and Shell will be very useful here. And Padfoot. This Pissarro team are so good. Barrier online. We should finally commence the battle here. Glaciella should be able to reach somebody. Leap Strike, only 1921 onto the Oberon. That is not a ton of damage. And she just kind of put herself in harm's way here. She is out in the middle of nowhere. And the haste actually wears off of Liarte already. Shadow Devour. That did not last very long. Taking too long to get buffs off or something like that, I guess. Apparently the haste is already gone. I actually don't know. Is this not a 3-turn buff? Is Velis's not 3 full turns? Javelin Claw comes out. Wow, little Leela tanked that insanely well. And this sneaky little, tiny little bunny Leela off in the corner, you can not even see her in the screen. She says, hey, come hit me. She's so small, I didn't even notice her. Law of Geo-Absorption comes out. 5,500 damage onto the Glaciella. This is looking pretty good for Spike, I will say. Because Glaciella is kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and you do not want that. You need Velis to keep her healed up and sustained. And this is one of those things with support units. Sometimes when the spacing is too big, they can just be stuck in their own buff loop. And Velis does not have full life. So Shadow Devour comes out. I think this has to be Spike's game to lose here. The reflex from Liarte, but unless she goes with something big like a Charm Charge, I just don't know how you turn this. Velis is going to have to do a ton of damage to win this fight. Eternal Frost comes out. That is, speaking of ton of damage, that is a ton of damage. Oh my god. 8-Path Dragon Shine, Limit Break. How much is it going to do? Drops the elemental resist on everybody. It actually only hit Liarte. I thought that hit Velis too. That could be kind of big. There's not healing really from Spike's side here. And Taunting Spell, not Silence Spell. That's kind of major. The silence could have been huge, but that was a taunting spell. This is probably going to kill Luel, right? Yeah, Luel's going to drop. It is now a 2v1. Hold on a second. Maverick is not out of this yet. Soaring Dragon Spear. And now the big question is, does he have heals on? Because he is not healed yet. If he has heals off, he could potentially double kill. No, he goes for snow healing. I think he might have double killed right there. Thunder Smite comes out. That is a lot of damage. Can little Leela take the kill? I think she can. She's going to walk up. Yeah, she's going to go for the Esper. This is the Agaion Esper. Interesting. And a little bit of revealing on what is in Spike's kit here as he picks up the game to win. I will say, I don't think you're trying to run Velis without heals, but I think if they were off, I think there's a chance he wins that there. Because I think he probably kills little Leela, and he might have been able to kill Oberon. It would have been very, very close. But GG's, a heck of a game 2, and I'm so glad that the final series of the week is going to a game 3. This was the series that the people in Discord, or our players, were kind of the most hyped about. So I'm excited that this went to a game 3 because it is our last one. So let's go ahead and jump into game 3 and see what these teams brought. All right, guys, game number 3, we've got Little Leela showing for Spike, and we've got Little Leela Halloween. I'm sure I won't confuse that at all during the fight. Anyway, so Little Leela, the standard SR version, has a really good silence ability, but I said this in the Rundle video. One thing I realized, Little Leela Halloween actually has 50% silence resist, so it is definitely not a guarantee that that silence goes off. So this will be interesting. So this is a full UR comp coming from Maverick. So something we have not seen this week. We've seen it before, definitely. And another switch up from Spike. I love these switch ups. This will be interesting. Resnick the Hoppy, Celis, and Little Leela. This will be really cool. The one thing I will say, though, is Gargus has guaranteed hits and he has the elemental advantage. If he is able to unavailable pain or bursting light, I think Resnick the Hoppy is going to drop. That being said, I say that, and Celis has Runic. So this was kind of a cool move by Spike to kind of absorb that. So Heart of Flutter. This is that Sweetheart will do our TMR for the standard Little Leela. And she's going to hide down there, right behind the corner. She's hiding, but she's also trying to soak up hate, so we'll see what happens here. Just keep hopping. Just keep living as she gets Courage online. What does Gargus have? It looks like he can reach the Little Leela here. He has some pretty insane range. This is probably a Windlash. As Winter Ravies is going to move forward. Celis, can she reach? Yes, she can. Magic Burst, 2354. Not too bad. The magic down won't really matter. Windlash, 5,000 onto the Little Leela. That is some pretty impressive damage coming up from Gargus. Does this hit? Oh, it's Runic. That's right. It gets soaked up by Runic. Celis absorbs that for the Resnick. Very cool move by her. Is this a heal? This is a Curata. She heals herself. Interesting. I did not expect that. I expected a silencing spell or something. Does she not have that on? I'm very curious. Could she really not hit silencing spell from there? Does Spike not have that equipped? Aerial Disperser goes. How much damage is this? 5622. And I imagine Ravies is going to take her out right here. No, she's going to go for Celis. Does Celis have more hate than her right now? Probably. The stun lands. How big is that? How important is that? I don't know. She still has one more Runic up, I believe. So she's going to soak this. Unfortunately for Spike, you kind of want it when it's soaking up for Resnick rather than the Little Leela, but you'll take whatever you can get. Cleansing Blade comes out, removes whatever debuff she had. I don't know if she had any. But the big thing for me is, like, Spike needs to take out Gargus. I think Gargus is the big threat here. Thrice the Acrobat. That is going to remove Winter Ravies. It is now an early 3v2 here. Is this another heal from her? Is Winter Ravies evading or something? And, like, Little Leela just can't hit her? I'm so confused as to why she's not attacking. Maybe that is a dodgy Ravies. What? Very strange. Windlash comes out from Gargus, drops the AoE resist. The Resnick dodges it, crucially, and Celis does live. How much damage is this onto the Gargus? Lunar Devastation. This needs to do a good chunk. I imagine it does. He has... What? That did almost nothing. That was actually soaked incredibly well by Gargus. And the full life comes out from Little Leela. Oh boy, even with the healing power down. Cleansing Blade comes out. That kills the Gargus, though. That is the main threat. But no, he's got re-raise. He's got re-raise. Little Leela, you need to kill that Gargus, or Resnick is going to be in danger. I'm so confused. Is this an evasion team from Maverick? Why is Little Leela doing this? I'm so confused. Wow. That is wild. Kills the Celis. Silence is on Resnick the Hoppy. Height 3 Cure goes off from Little Leela Halloween. I think this is probably a... No, it's a flare onto the Little Leela. A Little Leela is going to drop. This looks like it's Maverick's fight to lose. Resnick's going to have to pull off some absolutely insane stuff to win this. Yeah, and she would have to kill Gargus because he's the one with the guaranteed hit. He's going to be able to unavailable pain and take this, and I think Maverick is going to take this win. What is Little Leela going to do? She goes for Wind Axiom. That is an increased hit chance. 10,000 damage onto the Resnick. Can Ravies finish it? No, she can't. She misses, but I think this is probably unavailable pain from Gargus. And it is. That's going to be it. That is all she wrote. Maverick wins the series in the third game. A heck of a series. Honestly, this makes the standings very, very interesting. I will show it later, but there is like a three-way tie now for 5th place, I think. So this is very, very interesting for the Heindler division on how this is going to break down. If you guys know, did I miss something very blatant in the comments? Do you guys know something that I don't? Why was it that Leela didn't attack here? Because I can't imagine that's like an evasion Gargus. Was this Winter Ravies an evasion style? Why did she Mind Fortress right in front of her when nobody was like going to kill the Ravies? I'm very confused. And she never silence spelled. Was that off? Like, I don't know. Maybe I think Spike probably knows that better than I do. But maybe that ability was off. I just feel like that Little Leela SR was behaving very, very strangely in that fight. But who knows? So what do I know? I'm not really sure. But hey, guys, those were a bunch of really great series. Let's go ahead and check out the assist and kill leaders, and then finally the standings after the first 7 weeks. All right, guys, after 7 weeks, here is the assist leaderboard. Number 1, we've got Zazan of the Foolish Mortals with 34 assists. Obviously, they had a rough week this week, but he's been incredibly dominant all season for the most part. Second place, right on their heels, Naya catching up quickly with 30 assists of the Materia Hunters. 2.73 per game is very impressive. Titus, my boy Titus, also on my team in the Rundle division, the Fire Ferrets, putting in some absolute work with him with 26 assists. Little Leo the Bold with 20 of the Foolish Mortals. Salir on the Spaghetti Western with 19. A two-way tie at 6th for 18. Yuna of the Straw Hats and Dark Fina of the Foolish Mortals. Kilfei and Miranda of the Rock Boys in 8th and 9th with 17 and 16 respectively. And Gargus also tied for 9th of the Spaghetti Western with 16. Just a couple of quick shout outs. Obviously, Zazan, just being part of that Dark Squad, has stacked up a lot of assists. Naya has been an MVP in both divisions. She has been absolutely unstoppable. She is such a good support with some of those job upgrades that she got. She's just so damn strong for 40 cost. She's been putting in some work, and she is probably the MVP of both leagues if I had to pick one. Going into the kill leaders, though, let's take a look. It is still run by the Foolish Mortals with 18 kills. A two-way tie for second between another Foolish Mortals, Little Leo the Bold. Obviously, I mentioned Dark Fina number 1. And Glaciella Flagbearer of the Materia Hunters, hot on their heels with 16 kills in second place here. I will say one little error I made. I believe this kills per game is flipped. I normally sort this by kills per game. Glaciella Flagbearer has 1.78 per game and Little Leela has 1.07 per game. That is why they're in this order, so these two numbers should be flipped. But they are both tied for second. In 4th place, we have Pissarro of Sandrock with 14 kills, and a two-way tie in 5th with Skahal of the Spaghetti Western and Miranda of the Rock Boys with 13 kills. Two-way tie for 7th between Sakura of the Fire Ferrets and Gargus of the Spaghetti Western at 11. And then we have multiple units with 10 kills in 9th place. Ildiro Sweetheart of the Materia Hunters with 2 per game, and Perrine of the Sappers getting herself on that top 10 leaderboard. The final thing to go over is the standings. All right, so a couple of things to go over. So looking very at the bottom of the standings, there are 2 teams that have qualified for a toilet bowl. So unfortunately, they cannot make the top 4 of the playoffs. It is physically impossible for them to make that. However, we are going to have a toilet bowl competition, and they will get to compete in that, which will be really exciting. And also, they get to try and play spoiler over the last couple of weeks, which honestly, it is dangerous facing a team that is already out of the playoffs, because they can throw whatever the heck they want at you, and they don't have to sit there and be worried about losing. They just get to pull off some crazy stuff that you might not always expect. So that's kind of intimidating when you're playing against those guys, to be honest. Materia Hunters and MacRain should come as no surprise to anybody, has clinched playoffs officially. Sitting there with 21 points, there is no way that he could end up at 5th or lower in the seeding. And honestly, with one more series win, he clinches first place. All he needs to do is win one more series out of his last 2 weeks, and he is first, all tied up in this division. From here, it gets very interesting, and there's some things that I want to go over with you guys, because it might look like at first glance that we have a clear top 4 and they're just going to run away with it, and it's going to be those 4 teams. I'm going to put a pause on that and say that that might not be as clear cut as it seems at first glance. So obviously, MacRain and the Materia Hunters is a lock for playoffs with 21 points. Dr. Dickhead and the Foolish Mortals, with the loss versus the Rock Boys, is in 2nd place with 16 points. Ram9 and Turambar both with 15. Now, Dr. Dickhead currently with 16 points. His final 2 opponents are the next week against Maverick, who is trying to make the playoffs currently, and his final week is against MacRain. So if Maverick were to beat Dr. Dickhead, there's a chance he could lose to MacRain. Maverick could potentially try and boost up there. So even though this looks like super one-sided, that matchup looks very, very interesting to me. Another matchup that looks incredibly interesting to me is the final week of the season. 3rd place, Ram9 and the Rock Boys versus Turambar and the Fire Ferrets. They play each other in the final week. So even though they are both in the top 4 right now, yes, obviously one of them has to win. So basically, you can guarantee, no matter what, one of these 2 teams will be in the playoffs, but it is not a guarantee that both of them will make it. Like 100% chance at least one of them is there, but not a guarantee both of them are there. One of them could potentially drop out. JesusLBL and the Strawhats, Maverick and the Spaghetti Western, Spike and Bebop's crew all have 11 points. This tiebreaker might look a little weird to you because these two teams are -2 in their +2 total games, and you'd say, why are they ranked above Spike? Well, because our first tiebreaker when it comes to making playoffs is head-to-head record, and that is whether it is a 2-way tie, a 3-way tie, or a 4-way tie. We try and see if we can solve it based on that. Now, even though Spike has the best plus-minus win, like game win-loss stuff, in this 3-way tie, Jesus beat Maverick and Jesus beat Spike, and then Maverick beat Spike. So basically, Jesus has a 2-0 record in this 3-way tie, Maverick has a 1-1 record, and Spike has a 0-2 record in this 3-way tie. So there's just a bunch of really, really interesting things that could happen here. One of these 11-point teams has a very legitimate and real shot to make the playoffs. And this brings me finally to Xathria in the Ghostbloods. And you're saying, how is he not eliminated with 9 points left with like 2 teams with 15 points? And I had to double check this just to make sure that this was possible. And so for Xathria, if you are watching this video, you are not technically eliminated, but the road to the playoffs is an extremely strange and weird one. And it's going to seem like it's not real or not likely. First of all, if Xathria were to win both of his series and end up at 15 points and tied with either the Rock Boys or Fire Ferrets in a 2-way tie at 15 points, Xathria would lose that tiebreaker because Xathria actually lost to Ram9 in the Rock Boys and he lost to Turambar in the Fire Ferrets. So you're thinking, well, how can he possibly make the playoffs if that's the case? And it is a very weird situation where he basically wants to win 2-1 against Spike. You heard that correctly. He doesn't want to win 2-0 against Spike. If he wins 2-1 against Spike, wins his other series 2-0, and Spike wins his other series, while Ram9 loses both of his weeks, and if there was somehow a theoretical 3-way tie between Ram9 with 15 points, Spike with 15 points, and Xathria with 15 points, Ram9 would actually be the bottom of that tiebreaker because they would have a 3-way tie of all beating each other in this hypothetical scenario. Ram9 would technically have the worst plus-minus in that scenario, and I'm pretty sure it would come down to a 1v1 best-of-1 matchup between Spike and Xathria on the week 9 map. Now, I will tell you, the odds of that happening are about like 0.01% chance of happening, but you're telling me there's a chance. So who knows? He is technically not eliminated. Some really weird shit has to happen for that to happen. And I'm not telling Xathria to purposely lose a game versus Spike, but if he is up 1-0, he might want to consider it because I don't think there is another possible way that he can make the top 4 without doing it. So it'll be very strange. It'll be an interesting run. Like I said, it looks like a clear-cut top 4, but I don't think it's as clear-cut as it at first glance seems to be. I think one of these 3 teams very, not easily, but certainly could fall out of the top 4, and I think it is going to come down to the final week regardless. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a heck of the first 7 weeks of our 9-week regular season. Super looking forward to the last 2 weeks. I hope you guys are too. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.